Hey guys, it's Flower Friday, and today we're going to be talking about one of the happiest flowers, in my opinion, that there is. When happy flowers comes to mind, what flower do you think of? For me, it is the sunflower. I mean, think of an entire field of sunflowers with that blue summer sky. Happy. Look how nice this cottage garden is filling in behind me. It's beautiful. I love the way the sun hits it from behind. More happiness. But anyway, early in the year, I had a sunflower that was blooming here in this garden. That was pretty much the only thing blooming in the garden. And that's because it was planted by a squirrel. Who knows when, but it bloomed early. And so other than being a really happy flower, it's a really easy flower to grow. And it's an interesting flower in the way that it grows because it takes very little from us and from the soil. From us, we don't have to do much. You know, get it off to a good start and it's gonna go. From the soil, it actually takes less nutrients from the soil than it creates in its leaves and flowers and seeds. And it gives back too, in the form of flowers and happiness and seeds that we can eat. The stem of it, from the ground up to the top flower, is a really nice, once it's dried, it's very sturdy. You can use it as a stake in the garden for something else, or leave it right in the ground and grow something right up it, like beans. And it's a fast growing crop. From seed to flower, it only takes 6 to 7 weeks. Now, I meant to plant sunflowers a couple of months ago, but it's never too late. Well, almost never, because they grow so fast. So as long as you've got 7, 8, 9 weeks until your first frost, which at this point is probably about everybody, you can definitely get sunflower seeds planted. But I didn't have to worry about it because squirrels planted all these for me. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that they planted, and they're getting ready to bloom. I've got one over here that's even closer to blooming. You can see the yellow inside there. So when you think about planting your sunflowers and you're trying to find a location, obviously full sun is the way to go. However, if you want to get the most enjoyment out of the flowers, it's good to know how these flowers work. Once sunflowers start to put on a flower bud, that head is going to turn and face whichever way the sun is. And that's going to continue until those heads are mature. And then for the most part, they're going to face east. So if you can plan that, and you can enjoy them longer if you are looking at them from the east. So I'm going to be planting mine here in this area of the pumpkin patch in the cottage garden. It's definitely full sun. And now's a good time to plant them because they grow much faster than these pumpkins. So they'll get up and not be shaded out by the pumpkins. They'll get up in time and the two will grow pretty happily together. Now, as far as the soil is concerned, they pretty much don't care too much about soil. They don't have any specific requirements. They get most of their energy from the sun. Now, that being said, they are heavy nitrogen lovers. They grow fast. They've got those big leaves. They like a lot of nitrogen. And that's why nitrogen is important to fertilize them with, because they take all of those big leaves and they pull in all of the rest of their needs from the sun, which is maybe why they're called sunflowers. So you can add whatever nitrogen fertilizer you like. A good organic choice, 2 good organic choices are fish-based fertilizer or blood meal. As far as watering is concerned, watering is very important for sunflowers. It takes consistently moist soil to get those big leaves, those strong stems, which equate to better blooms. If they're allowed to dry out too much, you're gonna get dryness in the leaves, you're gonna get dryness in the flowers, which is basically gonna ruin the look of the flower, and the flowers will be smaller. You pretty much think of sunflowers needing the same amount of water as most vegetable crops. There are 2 types of sunflowers you can grow. There's single head and multi-head. Single head is basically what it says. It grows a tall stalk, puts one big flower at the top. Typically, these are the large flowers that are like 10 to 18 inches across. And that's it. And they're going to die. The entire plant will turn brown and it's over. There's nothing you can do about that. Now, multi-heads are still going to have the biggest bloom at the top. But once that has produced, deadhead it, cut it off. And then the side branches are going to start growing out and they're going to put a bunch of smaller flowers on there. With the single head, you're going to get a lot of drama. You're going to get a big flower, But that flower is going to last about 7 to 10 days, and that's basically the end of your color. Now, if you're growing them for seeds, this is going to produce the most seeds, so that may be the way you want to go. Now, if you're growing them for beauty in the garden, multi-head will bloom for about 5 to 6 weeks. So that means if you want to get the most beauty for your buck, you're going to succession sow your sunflowers. So sow some seeds this week, wait a couple weeks, sow some more. And if you want to, keep doing that every couple of weeks, and that's going to give you a much longer bloom period. So let's head back up to the pumpkin patch and get some of these planted. Before we plant, actually, let's talk about the varieties that I'm planting. And there are a lot of varieties you can choose from. I got some of these from Survival Garden Seeds, and then I got some from Blue Pumpkin Seed Company, which I got all of my pumpkin seeds from. So we've got Autumn Beauty, Sun Gold, Black Russian, and Buttercream. So I think I'm going to plant them in 2 rows. One's going to go right along the main line of the drip, and then I'll put 1 row between the rows of pumpkins. As you can see, this soil has not been amended at all, and that's okay. I don't think the squirrels amended theirs, and they're doing great. I'm just going to loosen it up a little bit. All right, so what I'm going to do, because I don't want these to be growing in lines based on the variety, so I'm going to take all the sunflower seeds and just mix them all up in a bowl, and then we'll just have a kaleidoscope of all the different shapes and sizes. And it is one of Emily's favorite flowers, so I'm sure she'll be doing a lot of cutting as well. Let's mix them up, and we're ready to sow them. I'm actually not going to worry too much about spacing because they are very tall, skinny plants. So I'm just going to sprinkle them down the row. I'm just going to barely cover them up because I'm going to be putting some mulch on top. I'm just going to put an inch or so of some mulch just right on down that row. It's just going to hold in some of the moisture. And now, because the squirrels obviously love sunflowers enough to grow them themselves, I'm going to put some tulle down here until they are about 6 to 8 inches tall. So I'm going to tack it in loosely with the landscape staples. I'll water it in really well. I don't have the drip tube that I want. I'm out of it. So I got to get that, and then I'll put a line of the 1/4 inch drip emitter tubing just right down that row and link it into the main line that's right there. Now, if you're wanting to grow the sunflowers for the seeds to eat, you want to wait and cut off the bloom when it is completely dry looking. And then I just hang them in the garage for a little bit, a few days, just to make sure all that moisture is gone. And then you can just kind of open it up, shake the seeds out. You'll be better some salt, but got a beautiful crop and an edible crop. If you learned something, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, share it with a gardening friend, and I'll see you next time.